Hello, Andrew Grabata, president of Smarter HSA here. Question I want to go through today. Why does your company have low HSA participation? And what do I mean by low? So there's two things. So A, what I see a lot of times is companies with 10 to 500 employees, they'll have 3 plan options. They'll have a copay, HSA, HSA. And the first thing I mean by low is maybe 75% on the copay and 25% on the HSA. So that's a pretty straightforward one. And it might be a little different, it might be a little better, 50-50, but somewhere in that range. So a lot of people still on traditional plans. And then the second thing is the ones that are on the HSA are not contributing their own dollars to the HSA. So typically 10% of employees that I meet with are actually putting their own money into an HSA, and it should be a lot higher. There's a lot of people that should be putting a lot more money into this that aren't, that can afford it, and that should be using it. So we already talked about if you're single, you can put $3,500 in. If you have family coverage, you can put 7. And ultimately, the reason that I've seen, the reason that participation is low is education. So, or lack thereof. So there's a lot, if you have 50 employees, it's hard to know how to deliver a message that's as complex as the health savings account. Not only do you have to teach them what it is, but how to compare a copay versus an HSA versus determining what the risk is, what their max exposure is. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of misconceptions. So there's part 1. Part 2 is what is the HSA in general, and part 3 is actually teaching them why they need to do this and why it impacts them positively in the short term and also the long term. So how do we do it? Education, and it's a lot different than just, I think what I see typically is there'll be a group meeting where you'll present and you'll say, this is a really good thing to do and you should do it, and it's really good because you get tax savings. So that will be the message delivered in like a 30-minute group presentation, or maybe they'll send everyone a video explaining all of your benefits, and in the midst of that they'll talk about the health savings account. So what I did is thought about how to create something that would address this problem. And there's a number of things we do. I'll talk about it in other videos, but it's all centered on education, and it's not just a one-time education. It's a series of education. It's simple, to the point, in layman's terms, explaining how to go about doing this. And what we found is by implementing our program is employers are saving money on premium. So employers and employees, premium savings, taxes. So employers, business owners, and employees are saving money on taxes, and we're setting ourselves up for the long term as opposed to short-term thinking. So getting people thinking more about the long game and why this is a good option. So I'll be breaking down a little bit about how I go into this and how we've created an actual program to really drive great results for